Welcome to Opinion Journal. I'm Mary Kissel. The Egyptian government declared a state of emergency today and launched a violent crackdown on pro-Muslim Brotherhood supporters in Cairo. Editorial board member Matt Kaminsky is here to translate what's going on and why. Matt, why do this now?
Well, they've been threatening to do this for a couple of days now. The military has. Because ever since Mohammed Morsi was deposed in early July, the Muslim Brotherhood set up these two camps in the center of Cairo. The military said these are terrorists, they're going against the rule of order, and it became basically, you know, is General Sisi going to do what he says he's going to do? And he did it this morning with predictably very bloody results.
Does this actually help the Muslim Brotherhood by making them martyrs?
I think so. I think actually both sides here were spoiling for a fight. If you look at it cynically, General Sisi is the de facto leader of Egypt now. He's sort of the new Mubarak, if that's the way you want to think about things. He had to show that he's tough, and he has the support of a lot of the country, possibly the majority as of today. For the Muslim Brotherhood, when Morsi was leaving office last 2 days, he was saying that we are going to fight this, we're going to fight it to the death. And they've really stuck with that. The Brotherhood in the past has been accommodating at times, but they've really not been with the military since this happened. Since the coup, they've said it's either Morsi's back or nothing, and they've really turned away any invitations to come back, to come in and negotiate and be part of the political process.
Well, we've already had some political fallout this morning. Vice President El-Baradei resigned from the government, said he couldn't be a part of this crackdown. What is the significance of that move?
Well, it's basically, I mean, El-Baradei is a fairly weak politician, has very little real support in Egypt itself, but it is a kind of, it was a liberal fig leaf for the military, that we have the support of the kind of secular elites of Cairo. He's now out. It's probably not a bad move for him because he would be tarred by this, and it makes him seem to be sort of morally upstanding. But I think that's, but the problem there becomes that if you, what was working in some ways for the military early on was they could show they had a very broad coalition supporting them in removing Morsi after very large protests, including even the Salafist Islamist Party, which is as big or almost as big as the Muslim Brotherhood. As that coalition gets smaller, the support that Sisi has now, he may start to find that it's a lot weaker than it seems, and he'll be in some trouble in a few weeks or a few months too.
Well, we already have a statement out of the White House. The Deputy Press Secretary Josh Earnest came out earlier today and said, and I quote, "The United States strongly condemns the use of violence against protesters in Egypt," end quote. Does this move put the U.S. in a very difficult position, Matt? How can we support a government it doesn't blink an eye to kill, what did we see, more than 100 people dead in the streets today? No,
it's tragic, and I mean, the statement's par for the course. You know, they've been calling for restraint. The military has ignored both from Secretary of Defense Hagel and Secretary of Defense Kerry have called for restraint. Clearly, this is not a sign of restraint. It makes it harder to really explain away why we're giving so much money to the Egyptian military as they're doing these things. I think there's still an argument for supporting the Egyptian military. It is very hard for the U.S., frankly, to influence what happens domestically in Egypt itself. We can do much more, let's say, even in Syria or where there's a war going on. But this is really a domestic struggle internally between the Brotherhood and the Islamists, and the Brotherhood is very comfortable being back in its role as the opposition, and the military, which is trying to reassert itself after deposing Morsi. There's very limited room for the U.S. to really do much here, but it obviously is going to become very hard for Obama to go to Congress and say, look, we need to keep giving them money.
Yeah,
fortunately, they don't have to for a while.
Especially as we see a rise, as you said, of the new Mubarak. Wall Street Journal editorial board member Matt Kaminsky, thank you very much.